Zimmerman's own words that night prove in any way that he murdered Trayvon Martin? Joining me right now from Hollywood, criminal defense attorney Darren Kavanaugh, who is the host of Deadly Sins on Investigation Discovery. Also from Hollywood Tonight, defense attorney Anahita Sedaghatfar. So, guys, all day today, you're watching it on HLN's live coverage of the Zimmerman trial. We heard the prosecutors just hammering home Zimmerman's words, the very words that he used that night as he called the cops. He said, effing punks and a-holes, while he followed Trayvon Martin. Darren, let me start with you, but still, at the end of the day, it in itself doesn't prove anything, Anahita. So how much does the language Zimmerman used that night actually matter in this case, do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with what Darren was saying, but the fact of the matter is that George Zimmerman was talking about these a-holes that had previously tried to break in. There were previous break-ins. They did get away. That statement is corroborated by the fact that Zimmerman made numerous 911 calls and other witnesses that have said there were break-ins in that neighborhood. So to the extent the prosecution wants to use these words against Zimmerman to show that he actually profiled Trayvon Martin or went after him because he's black, I think that argument failed, and we saw that with the FBI. They conducted an independent investigation, AJ, and found that Zimmerman acted with no racial motive here. And we also saw yesterday with two of the state's witnesses, which in my opinion, again, turned into defense witnesses, the police investigators who said race played no role in Zimmerman's actions that night. So it's an argument the prosecution is making, but it fails.
And it's an argument that really is sort of at the heart of what has drawn so many people into watching this live coverage every day here on HLN. And there's some other testimony that could or could not play into it all. We heard from a witness today who says that Zimmerman is his best friend. We're pretty warm in that courtroom there, Darren, and we keep your studio pretty cool, and that's why we're not seeing you sweating like him. I'm just saying. So
thank goodness.
What we're hearing now is a lot from George Zimmerman's police call, his police interviews, what he told friends. Anahita, do you think we're getting to the point where it's going to make a whole lot of sense for Zimmerman himself to actually take the stand and just speak?
Well, you know, AJ, as defense attorneys, we never want to put our criminal defendants on the stand unless we absolutely have to. And I think what we saw yesterday, where the prosecution played the audio tapes and videotapes of George Zimmerman's interview with the police, that was essentially Zimmerman testifying. And the prosecution didn't have the benefit of cross-examining him. So I think that helped the defense. And the way that the case has gone so far, I think the defense has poked hole after hole after hole into the prosecution's case that, quite frankly, they don't need to put Zimmerman on the stand. I don't think they will, and I don't think they should.
What about you, Darren?
Well, look, to put your client on, never a good idea. It's a high-risk move.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot, but I've watched enough coverage here on HLN to know, yeah, probably not a good thing to do. All right, so while Zimmerman is having his day in court, it actually looks like now another possible defendant may avoid court altogether. We're up to number 2, Darren. The guy, he gets a lot of respect for his work on Sesame Street. He won that Emmy just last month for playing Elmo. Even though his sex scandal was well known by the time that the voting process was underway. Anahita, I'm curious to get your take on that. The lawsuits, let's say they're all dismissed, this final pending one. Do you think Kevin Clash could ever return to Sesame Street at this point, or is it something that people just won't want regardless because of the damage that's been done?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Darren said also is very true, that the court dismissed these 3 lawsuits based on a technicality. Basically, the statute of limitations only means that the plaintiffs didn't file their case in time. The judge made absolutely no ruling on the merits of the case, AJ, and there is still one other pending case. So it is a semi-victory for this guy, but, you know, whether or not he should make any career moves or career decisions yet, I just think it's best to wait, and we don't even know if Sesame Street wants him back. Yeah. He probably should just stay away.
Yeah, well, and let me just remind everybody.
And private employers,
yeah.
No, sorry, private employers have a lot of discretion in this space, so it bears mentioning if they don't take him back, they're well within their rights for a variety of reasons.
And he's the one who stepped down here, to be clear, but innocent until proven guilty. Darren, Anahita, I want you to stay right there. We have our big reveal coming up. The biggest point, and I do love the lawyer answer of maybe. I mean, you really can't go wrong with that. Defense attorney Anahita Sedaghatfar is also here tonight. Paula's already, as Darren pointed out, suffered quite a bit. She lost her Food Network shows. She has lost so many endorsements. At this point, would it even matter for Paula's brand if the lawsuit is thrown out? Is it early enough that it can make a big difference?
That's a great question, AJ. And you know what? I don't really think it has so much to do with the lawsuit at this point, but it has more to do with her use of the N-word. I mean, that's not okay. We should all be offended that she used that word. But we have to remember, AJ, we are a forgiving public. The public has a very short-term memory when it comes to celebrity scandals. We're forgiving. I mean, we've seen this over and over with other celebrities. We saw it with Tiger Woods. We saw him make a rebound. We saw it with Martha Stewart. We saw it with Michael Vick. I mean, many said Michael Vick would never step foot on a football field ever again. And about a year ago, he signed a $100 million NFL contract. So I think she can redeem herself. I think she needs to be genuinely apologetic, not like the apologies we saw on YouTube and even her Today Show appearance. I think if she takes ownership of what she did, she shows genuine remorse and takes steps to perhaps show the public that she's sorry. Maybe she can do a PSA announcement, or, you know, put her money where her mouth is, you know, donate some money to some anti-discrimination causes. I think she does have a chance to redeem herself.
Yeah, I mean, I think Darren Anahita makes a terrific point there, at least as far as, you know, the lawsuit can go away. What she said is what she said. But go ahead, what's that missing ingredient here?
Well, yeah, no. Themselves and organizations, and the fundamental requirement here is Paula Deen first needs to be authentic about exactly where she's been inauthentic in the past. It's completely missing, and until she does that, she's not getting anywhere.
Yeah, well, I got to say, the clock is definitely ticking with that needing to happen. Darren, Anahita, great having you both here. Thank you. All right, you got to get